Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of the UK Connection, alongside, of course, Simon Bray, the Bray dog, and that random
Woof.
guy from Scotland, Steven Reid, here in the Zoom. What's happening, fellas?
It's good evening, good afternoon, all that kind of malarkey. How are you, Pete?
Doing good on this Saturday.
Hmm.
Doing A-OK. Simon's got all sorts of new equipment over on his end, and we don't know if it's working yet, though. He's,
No, I'm just actually dicking around with it whilst I'm not listening to you.
uh,
Uh,
I figured. There's always got to be something else to do, right, while we're talking.
Very
What's the
nice one.
phrase? All the gear, no idea, something like that. Is that right?
I am confident that the Bray dog will figure it out at some point.
Ah,
I,
He's got
I may do, I may
superpowers,
do,
right? So, it's like he
I
will.
may do I may do by yesterday when I speak to George,
Ah, okay.
or I might just sing or something. I don't know.
I love how it lights up. It's like fluorescent. It's like,
I am nothing if not a massive child.
can we remotely take this away from him? The way to do that.
I'll reach through the Zoom and snatch it. So we're back again with another new wave of British heavy metal episode. We've got three cool albums to talk about, and it's kind of the similar formula to our AOR melodic rock show that we do. But before we get to that, we have a little bit of business to attend to. Steven, what are we
Whoa.
drinking today?
Well, the only reason that I'm going first is because people at home will be going, oh, they've broken with the format. That can't happen. Is because nobody else was brave enough to say this quite as badly as I'm about to. Okay, so yes, it's beer time, people. This is what we're all drinking. Okay, and it does not sound anything like Acht Schlenkerla Rauchbier. Okay, Schlenkerla would appear to actually mean smoke beer, and this is a Marzen, so that's the type. It's Das Original, so it's the original, and it's Aus Bamberg, so it's from Bamberg. There you go. That's as much as I know realistically about it, because it's all in German. Die historisch Rauchen. Yeah, that's the history of it all.
Yeah.
Okay, those who can read it can read it. There you are. It looks fabulous in the glass. Yes, the absolute business. So this is a smoke beer. This is a brand new thing for me.
Smells like a campfire. Yeah, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, really admit I've never had anything like this before. You open the bottle and you immediately go, "That's weird,"
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like,
and you do kind of get,
it's like a bacony type of thing almost, right?
yes, it is a little bit like burnt bacon in a way. You can kind of smell kind of like a stout or something in there, but it does also smell like it's been on a campfire.
Doesn't really taste like it smells,
No, it doesn't. It's richer.
right?
And it does kind of sit on the tongue like that. Or it does to me anyway. It does have a kind of, not acrid. I do feel like I've maybe licked a log at the end of this.
It's got a roastiness, which is not uncommon in stouts and some porters,
Yep.
but definitely there's a little bit of the smoke, but it's not overwhelming on the palate like the
Oh
smell.
well,
Like when I first smelled it, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this.
I'm going to say each to their own on that because I find that to be quite pungent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm struggling with that. If truth be told, this it says I've just had like a log. It's got really good mouthfeel. Okay, it's a nice thing to drink. And initially, I think, oh, that's nice. I'm
Yeah,
not enjoying
initially I
it.
get like that roasty caramelly type of thing, which some
Yeah,
stouts do have.
and it
Yeah,
does. It's definitely moving. You smell it and you go, yeah, campfire, stout into porter. You do get that. You taste it. To me, it's the other way around. You get the stout into the porter, and it feels like quite a strong one. There's hints of coffee and things in there, which makes it borderline for me.
I get when you sit with it for a minute or so, I'm
Yeah,
feeling like I just ate a couple slices of bacon.
yeah. When and this is going to be no good for a show. When I don't talk, I think that tastes quite nice. As soon as I start to actually intake air, I do actually feel like I'm sitting around a very strong campfire. What do you think, Simon?
Well, I'm going to list things in life that I really, really hate. Number one, smoked bacon. Yuck. Ugh. God, there's nothing more like to make the Bray dog kick off than walking into somewhere and say, "We've got smoked bacon." Ugh. That said, it's all right. It's my least favorite of the three that David has sent us thus far,
Yeah,
but I remain incredibly thankful for David for doing
Of
that
course.
for us.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yes.
it's definitely smoky. It's quite malty as well, really.
yes, yeah.
I would have one, be very pleased I've had it, and then move on to something else.
Yes, I'm delighted to taste it because this is something brand new to me. I've never tasted anything like this before in my sheltered life, and I
Weirdly,
probably won't go out of my way to taste one again. Truth be told, I don't really like this very much.
weirdly, I have like the I'm a really fatty eater, but I will drink any old shit. Yeah, I'm a relatively typical British, apart from lager, obviously. But yeah, and I like to try and taste practically every beer in the history of
Oh,
mankind, and
yeah.
I'm pleased I've had it.
Yes, my choosing usually goes along the lines of I've had that, I've had that, I've not had this, I'll buy that.
Exactly.
That's how I choose a beer. So I am genuinely delighted to have tasted it. Um,
Oh,
and they do have other varieties of this, some that are less smoke and more smoke and various things that would appear having looked on their website.
I'm sitting here wondering what a regular Marzen beer without the smoke
Yeah.
would be like for this brewery because I'm thinking that take the smoke out of this beer, and this is a pretty delightful beer, right? That's kind of where I'm at with it. Yeah, I don't think I could drink more than one of these. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, it's complex. I don't actually know if it is complex because I feel totally overpowered at the end of it. I can actually feel it at the kind of back of my throat.
yeah,
Oh, so much. Anyway, long beer section people, sorry.
yes. For all the people who hate the beer section, they're all passed
I
out sleeping
could
right now.
only apologise. Yes, thank you, David, for sending these. I'm
Yes,
delighted to taste something I never have. The other two have been fabulous. This is not for me.
and
Truth be
we still have a couple more to go. So
about to have another drink of it. There you go.
maybe this will be one of those beers where halfway through the episode, we're all about halfway through the beer, we'll be like, oh, you know what? This is actually not too bad. I've gotten used to it now. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I think we'll see covers it quite well. Truth be told. There you go. Anyway, sorry. Right. Okay. Enough of that. Enough of that.
Back to the new wave of British heavy metal, right? So, who's going to introduce our three albums of today?
Well, okay. Well, as you say, Pete, it's kind of in the same vein as when we did the melodic rock show, where we have what is generally perceived as a classic. So we're going to talk about Wheels of Steel by Saxon, the band's second album. We are going to talk about an underground classic, an album that I think most people recognise as probably a really good album from the genre, but maybe doesn't quite get the recognition.
Yep.
We're going to go with Demolition by Girlschool. And we're going to go for, I mean, it's definitely perceived as a new wave of British heavy metal album. I would also say it's perceived as a very good one. But for the kind of number three slot, we do like to kind of go a little bit sideways. So we're going to talk about Time Tells No Lies by Praying Mantis, okay? Because this album, it came out during the NWOBHM and it fits into that perfectly, whilst not sounding like it really does at all, truth be told. So those are the three albums that we're going to talk about.
Yep.
Okay,
Sounds
so will I do some blurb about the Saxon album then? There
sure.
you go. So let's start with Wheels of Steel. So this is Saxon's second album, and it was released through Career Records on the 3rd of April 1980. It was produced by Peter Hinton, who has also produced albums by Demon and Coroner, Witchfinder General, all kind of genre specific at this point, I would suggest. The band lineup was, as you would expect at this stage, the fantastically named Biff Byford on vocals, Graham Oliver and Paul Quinn on guitars, Steve Dawson on bass, and Pete Gill on drums. Now, this was the band's first album to chart anywhere. It peaked at number 5 in the UK and it got to number 36 in Sweden. And I mention that because it didn't do anything really anywhere else. There were 3 singles released from Wheels of Steel. The title track got to number 20 in the UK. 747 Strangers in the Night got to number 13, and Susie Hold On did not chart, even though it was released as a single. And really, That's Wheels of Steel. So Wheels of Steel by Saxon. Go
Cool.
on, Simon. What do you think?
Well, I think this is Wheels of Steel by Saxon. This is my vinyl version. I've had this a very long time. This is a good thing. It's one of those it's one of those records that when we've discussed this before, it's one of those I thought I don't need to listen to this. I know where it lives. It lives right in the middle of my head because there was a time quite a while ago where I listened to practically nothing else, a bit like Number of the Beast or something like that. This is such a great record. I love it so much. I don't think I've listened to it since we did we rank Saxon? Yeah, we did a
Favorite,
Saxon
least favorite.
program.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as is often the way with those programs, I then think I'm not listening to that band for the next 15 years. But I have gone back to it and thoroughly enjoyed revisiting Wheels of Steel. That's what it is. How can you forget that? It's not like I didn't reread the email again today, isn't it? Hey, but yeah, yes, very excited that Saxon are touring Wheels of Steel this year and here in the UK. Are they not, Steve? I feel
They
like
are
that.
indeed. We're
I feel
both
like
going to
that's
different dates.
the kind of thing that we could comment on maybe next month. Hmm. But
So
anyhow,
where are you both seeing them?
Manchester.
And Glasgow.
Wow.
Yeah. Whoop, whoop. So,
Maybe
hey,
one of these decades you guys will actually be at a show together, right?
I'd be
No.
stood somewhere else.
Yeah. If Simon comes up to do the Scottish one, you'll make sure I'm on holiday.
Well, maybe if a certain American comes over there to the UK and identifies something that's happening that we could all attend together, wouldn't that be kind of fun?
Yeah,
Yeah, as long as it's
If
not in
George comes
London.
over, we could do that. Yeah.
Ah,
Not like Eric invited us last week, is it, eh? No, we know I'm
Yeah.
not
Thanks,
invited,
Eric.
don't
Yeah.
we?
Go
Yeah,
along, Paul.
never liked him. But anyhow, back to Saxon. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And one of the thoughts that I had about this is like people like us are probably sick of some of the songs on this because you think, oh, these were hits, these were really, you think, wow, 747, Wheels of Steel, wow, all the time, and yet there are people out there, maybe after watching this, who will go and listen to these for the first time. And I wish I was those because do you know what? I love Motorcycle Man, great opener. Stand Up in the County, it's great. But thank you. The opening bit of 747 Strangers in the Night, not the Frank Sinatra song, and Wheels of Steel, they are both. You just think, yes, my God, this is brilliant. This is absolutely fantastic. They're just absolutely thrilling songs. Thrilling. Everything about them just superb. Side one is absolutely brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And side two is pretty good as well. Is it the best Saxon album? I don't think so, but that's not important right now. It's a really good record. I think Pete Gill was in a different county than the rest of them. And weirdly, of the three albums we've got, it's the one that makes me think, oh yeah, that's very early 1980s. That just sounds like, it's the least produced of the three albums,
yep.
I would suggest. But it's got such great songs on. And I always find Freeway Mad amusing because I'm fairly confident the M60, I want to say two goes to Yorkshire. I'm fairly confident that wasn't really a thing back in the late 70s, early 80s. People around here, they weren't mad for the freeways. Freeways just weren't. They're not even a thing now, are they? Freeways over here, they really are. But it's just parts of this record are utterly thrilling, and they're the building blocks of much of the really of great stuff that came later in Saxon's career and in NWOBHM, which we all know isn't a thing, don't we? There's not that much that really puts these three. I haven't got the Praying Mantis stuff. They're not that similar, are they?
No, they're really not. These
Thank you,
albums are
Steve.
not
Thank you.
similar at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not, but they were roughly from the same time, and they're both. Sorry, all three are relatively hard rock, aren't they? I love Susie Hold On. Biff trying to actually sing, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, he's not metaling it out, is he? On that one, it's just really good record. Everything about it's good, even the Even the bass playing's good, and let's never mention him again, shall we? But the guitars are super, really nice, well structured songs. It's a really
Yeah.
superb record. And if you were to say, hey Simon, point me towards something that is Nwabuni, I'd feasibly go for this. We're very early Def Leppard. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's difficult not just to echo all of that, really. I think what strikes me about Wheels of Steel, I like the debut, the self-titled debut, which came just before this. It's a good record. It's a well-intentioned record. It's got some really good songs on it. I don't love the debut. It's miles off this. It's absolutely miles off this. And the jump between Saxon and Wheels of Steel is just ginormous. And not just in kind of like the way the record's presented, because as Simon has mentioned, absolutely bang on the money. This does just sound like them clattering about in a warehouse almost, really. It's not a produced album. It feels raw, not raw, but it feels almost live. And yet, the really great songs on this album, the classic versions are on the Eagle Has Landed. They're even better live.
Yep.
So in many ways, Wheels of Steel is an album that I kind of listen to and go, this is a great album. It could be better. Oh, it is really. I've almost got the whole album on something else, which makes it even better. But yeah, I mean, I do love an album that opens with something not silly. I love all this kind of stuff. I live for these moments. Do you know what I mean? And the thunderous riff that comes in behind it is just fantastic. It is like you're hurtling down the road. The drums are pounding, admittedly, in a different place entirely. But yeah, side one is not far off perfect. I mean, you've got boogie metal here, Stand Up and Be Counted. I love the drama of 747 Strangers in the Night. I was going to say it might be my favourite Saxon song, but when I really think about that, there's probably another 15 or 20 that kind of vie for that. So I probably can't, truth be told. But just the whole thing, it just really it holds together so well, and the journey across side one is just fantastic. I like silly things like during the title track, Biff howls or shouts and whistles and all this kind of stuff. You listen for these moments, don't you? All these years later, you're still going, go on, Biff, go on, yeah, there you are, good
Let's
lad.
hear it. Let's hear it.
You do. You're still waiting for all of these moments. And yeah, side two is maybe not quite up to those kind of really high standards. I mean, Street Fighting Gang, but they're still really good, do you
Yeah.
know? And I really like Susie Hold On. It's a bit more brooding, it's a bit more refined. It's the only thing that maybe just takes the foot off the gas just ever so slightly. And then the rampant machine gun comes right on the back of that.
Oh yeah.
And it just absolutely steamrollers over you again. It is an undisputed classic. And yeah, I absolutely, as always, think the Bray Dog has nailed it. Actually trying to get the NWOBHM sound and kind of put it in a bottle, right? And say that's what it's this is it. It's on this is it now. It's really difficult because like most of these scenes, they're about a time and a place. They're not really about how the two guitarists and the singer sound. But yeah, Wheels of Steel might be one of the best examples of it. And it's interesting because the other two albums are definitely new wave of British heavy metal. And they sound basically nothing like this. So that is why it becomes really difficult to kind of say. It's interesting now when you review an album and say it sounds like it's a new wave of British heavy metal album. I think we all know what we mean by that. But I do actually think that that brings it and does this with it. Those albums from now tend to sound quite down a single alley, whereas the actual NWOBHM really didn't. It's very broad and very wide, and it just happened to be roughly around this time more than anything else. But yeah,
Yeah.
this is brilliant, and we all know it. Let's be honest.
I mean, we could do an entire episode about why the new wave of British heavy metal is just a movement. It's not a sound, it's not a style, because you hit the nail on the head. We could list 15 bands. Witchfinder General, Witchfind, Saxon, Girlschool, Diamond Head, go on and on and on. None of them sound alike, really. They all sound different. What makes them kind of similar? They're all British and they're all kind of metal. That's it. But they're not the same. They're not the same at
I think
all.
there's an attitude.
Yeah, there is. There's like
Mm,
a
yeah.
punk attitude and intensity
Yeah.
along with like kind of like a classic metal mentality, so to speak. I don't
I
know.
was going to say that because I would suggest that certainly one of these three has a kind of punk attitude. Does Wheels of Steel? I don't know if it's got. See, early Iron Maiden does,
It does.
Mm.
and I would suggest that getting ahead of myself here. Girlschool has that kind of feeling
Has that.
in
Angel
places.
Witch has a little bit of it. There are certain bands that have a little bit of
This,
it,
to
some
me,
more so than
much what we
others.
would call Saxon now at this stage, maybe not in more recent years. These days, you would go, they're a rock band.
Well,
This to me
I
is
would
hard
argue,
rock
and I'm going to
classic.
say it, is that that album, or let's say, let's talk about Wheels of Steel, Strong Arm of the Law, and Denim and Leather, because really those are three of a perfect pair,
Yeah,
to quote a King Crimson
I
album.
know what you mean.
Um, and that they sound nothing like the debut, and they really don't sound anything like the albums that came after that. Like Saxon, that those three albums are like born to be together. To me, you play them successfully, and it sounds like they were all recorded at the same session on the same day or the same week, right? I think these albums have more in common with like Motorhead than Girlschool or Iron Maiden or any other band we can talk about. There's something about Saxon that's a little bit different than some of these other bands. There's a
Well,
there's a simplicity, I think,
Mm.
to their arrangements and their music, especially early on, which I always think fits more in line with what Motorhead. Not that they sound like Motorhead, but there's something about, or even like AC/DC, like Bon Scott era AC/DC. There is a simplicity that just works so perfectly with what they were trying to do, as opposed to like an Iron Maiden that's doing all these complex arrangements and things. There's a to me there's a big difference between Maiden and Saxon. Huge difference.
When I listen to early Saxon, I think yes, there's that simplicity, but you can kind of tell that because they were son of a bitch before, weren't they? And they'd done the clubs, and you can kind of tell like they're very comfortable with each other, and and everything's quite not really well worked out.
Very
Like,
tight, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
very tight. Yes, yeah, exactly. Whereas early Maidens really punky,
Yeah. Yeah.
and this is rock music,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
yes.
know, and yet they get lumped in together.
It's
Yeah.
really
It,
tight. It's in the pocket. And that's why, Bon Scott era AC/DC kind of always comes to mind. But yet Saxon are heavier than AC/DC, in
well, I
my
was going to say
opinion.
for me, I've got to be honest and say that AC/DC and Saxon feel miles apart and run in opposite directions. There's no blues in Saxon at all.
Well, that is true. That is true. I'm more thinking about the tightness of the arrangements and the simplicity of the
Yeah.
songwriting, I think.
Yes, there's no, I mean, yeah, biff whistles and there's pretend motorcycles and things like that, and all, but there's not much more than the meat that needs to be on the bone. So I would agree with that. But it's interesting you're likening that to Motorhead because, well, I'm going to talk about them a fair bit later on.
Right. Right. So anyway, Wheels of Steel. Because I agree with everything you guys said. I think it's a dynamite album. Simon brought it up. Is this your favorite Saxon album? It's like my favorite Saxon album changes all the time, and there have been many times in my life since I've been listening to this band where I've named either Wheels of Steel or the next two albums as a favorite, or the album after that, or the album after that, and then I'm like, oh, but the recent albums are great too. They're a little bit different, but this is a great album. It suffers maybe a little bit from the fact that so many of these songs on this album we've heard a lot, right? Either from listening to this record or the various live albums, or if you've seen them live, they play most of these songs, Wheels of Steel, Machine Gun, 747, Motorcycle Man, Susie Hold On. I mean, these are very popular songs in the Saxon canon, right? But they're killer. I mean, they're just great. And I think the deep cuts are really good on here too. I mean, Stand Up and Be Counted, that's like a no nonsense rocker, really good. Freeway Mad, simple, ass kicking. See the Light Shining, great riff. Street Fighting Gang. Again, they're not maybe the classics that the other songs are, but they're really, really good. To me, this is no frills, no nonsense British heavy metal. That's all it is. There's no gimmicks here. There's no fluff. There's no prog. There's no keyboards. This is just simple, straight, uncomplicated British heavy metal. That's all it needs to be. It's a great album.
Which brings it on then to album number two.
Bring on the ladies.
So this is Demolition by Girlschool. Okay, this is a debut album from the band, released on June the 30th, 1980, through Bronze. I suppose it is worth mentioning that it didn't actually get a US release back then. I don't know when it eventually did. Some of the songs, Race with the Devil, Not for Sale, Take It All the Way, they appeared on a US album called Hit and Run, which is not the British Hit and Run. So it's a compilation of both those albums kind of put together. So Demolition was produced by Vic Mail, who, funnily enough, was more famous for his work with Motorhead and admittedly many other bands, but I would suggest Motorhead is who most people would connect him with. Girlschool's lineup was Kim McAuliffe on rhythm guitars and lead vocals on 3 tracks, Kelly Johnson lead guitar and lead vocals on 1 track, and Enid Williams bass and lead vocals on 6 tracks. Okay, and then you've got Denise Dufour on drums and lead vocals on no tracks whatsoever. Demolition peaked at number 28 in the UK and it did not chart anywhere else. 3 singles were also released from this album. You had Emergency, you had Nothing to Lose, and you had Race with the Devil. And only the latter charted. That is obviously a cover version, I think originally written by Adrian Gurvitz, recorded by The Gun, and that got to number 49 in the UK chart. So, and certainly here in the UK, if you didn't get to the top 40, it really didn't matter if you charted at all, truth be told, because you wouldn't be covered on the top 40 radio show or Top of the Pops or any of that kind of thing. And that is Demolition by Girlschool.
So, quick little note about Girlschool in the US around this time and for the next couple of years after. This was a band, if you were lucky, you might see their albums in the import section. They really had no presence here whatsoever, which is like weird when they got the opening slot on the Deep Purple Perfect Strangers tour. We were all kind of surprised because like Girlschool, it's like, no impact here whatsoever. Good for them though, I mean, I think that was a great gig for them. But yeah, unlike some of the other bands on the new wave of British heavy metal scene, not much of an impact over here, which is a shame.
Go on, Simon.
I'm just pretending to have frozen. You know I haven't really. Sorry. Just a child. Hey, Girlschool Demolition. I am a big fan of Girlschool Demolition. I really am. I even reckon I could draw the cover, and I have no talent whatsoever in that department. I can definitely make
Saying a lot for the cover art, right?
Yes, basically. But yeah, there we go.
It's
Anyhow,
bad enough. Sorry, Simon. It's bad enough, but what's the hair about?
I know it's
Yeah.
got different color. I don't get it. Anyhow, but he's holding on to a guitar, so that's always a bonus while he demolishes things, I assume. But literal artwork, don't you just love it? But I really like this record. One of the things I really like about the record is the production by Vic Mail. I think it's really good. It actually sounds like they're playing together,
Mhm.
and I love the drum sound because it sounds like drums. Very often, drums don't sound like drums. It sounds like you're. I was in the room with them and I could hear that she's playing the drums. And very often that is not the case. It's not the case. And I remember back in the day, because I'm old enough to remember when this came out, and the first 3 or 4 girls' school albums, you know, wankers. Let's be honest, wankers were going, oh, they're all right for girls, aren't they? Oh, get lost. Does it really does
People
that?
were saying about that bad about a lot of female bands for
Exactly.
decades
It's
to come, right? Yeah.
just ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're all right for what human beings. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's a really good record, really good record. The guitar work is fantastic. Another thing that people often said about Girls' School were, oh, the hits. They didn't write the hits. Well, they weren't massive hits, were they? Let's be brutally honest. But you know, um, I've heard the original version of Race with the Devil, and this is way better. It's way better. It's just played with a joie de vivre that's just like, yeah, that's so good. So we're happy to be alive when we're listening to this. I love the opening. I love the opening of Demolition Boys. It always just makes me go. just because, I'm quite paranoid. Not for sale is great. Take it all away. Gonna take it all away. Nothing to lose. Oh, it's just so good. All the way through. Do you know what else this record is, kids? That's right. Nice and concise.
Yeah.
Gets in. That is one of the best things about NWOBHM, which we all know isn't really a thing. There's no dicking around.
Yeah, we're talking barely over an EP for so many of these albums, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just lean and mean. It's a really good record, despite whatever gender they might be. It's just really good, kick-ass rock and roll. You can tell that Vic Mail's got a punk kind of background. He produced the 999 single Indian Reservation, which is one of my favorite things ever. Yeah, nobody else bought it except me. It's a cover version. Yeah, it's really, really, really good. He died tragically young. Anything that's got his name on, I go, oh, I'll have a listen. I'll have a listen to that. He makes, yeah, it's more produced than Saxon, but it sounds like a band playing. To me, at least, some really good songs. Says what it has to say. Buggers off. I like that. Put it back on again. Let's do it again. You know it makes sense. Yeah, really good record. I haven't listened to it for ages, like Saxon. I'm really, really pleased to have reacquainted myself with it. So yeah, it's a winner. It's a winner. It's a good week. It's a good week for the UK connection. We've made some good choices here.
All
Yes,
through,
yeah.
yeah.
It's going to
It's
make
a
the
winner.
curious bits at the end quite difficult.
Yes, I know it's not your favourite bit, but we are definitely going to do it here because it's bloody difficult. I still haven't chosen what one I would keep. There you go. Yeah, it's difficult not to say again, just to not just parrot what you've just said there. This is great. This is really good. I don't like the cover. It's the weakest cover of them all. Saxon's kind of has that kind of powerful sort of it's a metal album. Praying Mantis has a classic cover,
It's Rodney Matthews, right? Yeah, it's classic.
and this is just yeah. Do you know? I mean, I couldn't draw all this kind of stuff, but you just look at it and you go, yeah, this cover, that's a great cover, hit and run.
That is
But
good.
there you go. So they weren't always lumbered with bad covers, too. To be fair, it's the only thing I don't like about it, and it's not the worst album cover that you're ever going to come across. And yes, I am going to find it difficult not to say they were very much seen as the kind of sister band of Motorhead, and that's because well they toured together. They clearly all got on, had a lot of respect for each other. They recorded a single together or an EP and all this kind of stuff. So the links were there and playing, and both bands played on it. It wasn't Girlschool kind of running on Motorhead's coattails. Motorhead and Girlschool were part of the same scene and wanted to work together. That's what it was. And for some reason, Girlschool often seemed to be seen as, oh, they're just chasing after Motorhead. Not in that sense, but more musically and all that kind of way. And yet, you only have to be happy to the opening track to kind of go, I could hear Lemmy sing this. But that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's not because they're rewriting stuff that Motorhead would do. This just happens to be, this is more of a scene sound to me when you listen to bands like Motorhead and Girlschool than the wider new wave of British heavy metal. But there's much more going on here. There's a really cool groove on Not For Sale. And I just think that it would be interesting to look at this album through different eyes because there's glam rock on here, there's boogie rock on here, there's a punk attitude on here, there's a rock bass to the whole thing. I mean, their version of Race with the Devil, which, and it's a shame, same again, it's a cover version, and as Simon mentioned, bands get lumbered with that, especially early on when cover versions are released as singles. It's like Quiet Riot. People kind of go, oh, they just covered Slade over and over. And all, it's too you know. And Girlschool kind of got the same thing, but it's really good. It's way better than the original. It's not just thrown together. It sounds almost like somebody dragged Status Quo into the NWOBHM. It just has a real kind of heart and soul, nothing to lose. That's maybe got more something to do with the kind of 70s UK glam rock scene. You can kind of imagine them wearing kind of spangly trousers and all this kind of stuff. But the aggression and breakdown and the punky attitude of Emergency, kind of the wailing guitars and the huge sing-along chorus, I absolutely love that song. It's such a good song. And I just think the whole album really holds together as a start to finish album. It's fantastically well played. I think is really well produced. Not just for the time. I was going to say for the time, and what I mean by that is it's perfect for the time because we are crossing over punk into metal, into all these things, and it touches all these points without just touching all these points. It's not for the sake of it. It's not like, oh, well, we have to sound like this and we have to sound a bit like that. And just to add to what Simon mentioned, I don't know what it was like in the US, but certainly in the UK around this kind of time, most female fronted or completely female bands in the UK in magazines like Kerrang were just seen as kind of centre page fodder. You know, you had a couple of years down the line, to be fair, you had your Lisa Dominiques, who were really more known for not wearing very much than releasing music, to be fair. And then you had people who were good, like Lee Aaron, who, okay, had a model past, but were very much seen in that kind of, let's put them in furs and not much else. And Girlschool bucked that trend
Yeah.
because they wore the leathers and they wore the denims and they were part of the scene. And they never quite, I don't know, managed to shake off that, oh, it's just women playing a heavy metal thing. That thankfully, maybe only really in the last 10, 15 years have we seen that begin to fade away. We get bands like Burning Witches and so on that we're actually just now talking about the music rather than, oh, it's women that play it. So yeah, I don't want to overemphasize that, but back then it was a thing. Girlschool were one of the very few fully female bands, along with like Rock Goddess and various things like that, that were playing really good music. So yeah, this is excellent. And if you don't know much about Girlschool, I would really ask you to go listen, especially the first two. These two are excellent. I probably prefer Hit and Run, but not by much. They're both absolutely fantastic. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, you bring up some good points there. I'm kind of surprised that this band really didn't have much of an impact here because I think that and I don't know how much of an impact they made over by you guys, but like the Runaways were kind of a precursor to this band. Like one of the, you had Fanny as well, but the Runaways were the first like kind of all female like metal band, I guess, here. And they weren't big here, but they opened for a lot of the bigger bands. They were friendly with a lot of the bigger bands, and they were in the magazines. And I think they played up more the Runaways kind of physical appearances a little bit more than like Girl School would just kind of like we mentioned Motorhead. I mean, that Girl School was like the female version of Motorhead, right? They're just no nonsense, wearing our jeans and our ripped t-shirts, and this is what we got, right? Um, so I'm surprised that like in an era where you had like the Blondies and the Pat Benetars and the Pretenders and all these other, rock bands that had female singers or female members that they couldn't kind of make that work here in the States. I don't know. It's just kind of weird, but apparently it wasn't just here. So anyway, back to this album. I honestly had never heard this album before this assignment here, before this episode. Never heard this album. Yeah. I never really dove into the music of Girlschool for whatever reason. It's just, you can't listen to everything. I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed this album. It's very good. Um, I think Demolition Boys is a great anthem. Again, it reminds me of like a heavier, meaner Runaways, and I like the Runaways. So I like the fact that this was kind of a similar vibe, but a little heavier, a little riffier type of thing. Not for Sale has an amazing opening guitar riff. I absolutely love that little lick they do at the beginning. It's just so good. And I think the vibe on that song reminds me of like On Through the Night era Def Leppard, maybe even High and Dry to an extent. It's just got that good, no nonsense, kick-ass, like hard rock riff. Just really like it a lot. I like the cover. I'm a fan of the original. I think Gun's a good band. I like the Gervitz brothers a lot, so I thought that was really, really well done. Nothing to Lose is great. Breakdown is killer. Probably my favorite song on the album. Really good. Midnight Ride is kind of cool. There's like this kind of, again, Blondie meets Runaways. It's fun. It's good. Emergency is killer. I think the important thing to note is not only can this band play their instruments really, really well, they know how to write memorable, catchy choruses. So even though you may argue that there's not any breakout hits on this album, I think there's some songs that are really, really, really memorable, and given the right type of promotion, could have picked on with a more mainstream crowd. I like it. I think it's good. Baby Doll is really good too. I think Deadline is a great closer too. I love ending an album with a kick-ass closer, and Deadline is totally that. So I was very, very surprised by how much I enjoyed this album. So first time listen, I it's a winner.
Have you had the opportunity to delve any deeper of just this album?
Just this album, yeah. But I saw that collection you were holding up before, and I'm like, ooh, that's still available. I may want to get a hold of that because yeah, that's
This is, well, Lemon Records, so Cherry Red.
what's it called? The definitive. What's the bronze? The bronze years?
Bronze Years, yeah. So it's the first four albums that you get
Okay.
on this.
Well, let me get to work and do my searching while Simon starts because I seem to do this every damn episode now. But yeah,
I'll do my blog while Pete Googles or Discogs or whatever we want to do. Okay, so this is Praying Mantis with Time Tells No Lies. Yes, Rodney Matthews artwork. You can't really mistake it. The only thing that's wrong with it is it's not a gatefold because it deserves it because it's just utterly fantastic. It's one of my favourite Rodney Matthews artworks. I absolutely adore it. And yet I like doing shit like this. So I'm gonna indulge myself here because I've got a merch sheet. I love shit like this that you've still got in old records because it's just bonkers. Kind of looking at
look at all
things.
that merch. Look at all that goodness.
Somebody somewhere has still got this fantastic Praying Mantis T-shirt that they bought for £3.50. It's just this drawing here, this drawing. Did anyone buy the enamel badge from this drawing? I don't know, but it's just so cool. You can buy a sweatshirt, you can buy a black satin tour jacket for £19. Album logo on the back. I mean, they don't show you the back.
It's like sign
Okay,
me up.
it's just so cool. Sorry, I love shit like that. Anyway, so this was the band's debut album. It was released on the 3rd of April 1981 through Arista. It was produced by Tim Freeze Green, probably best known, I think, for later joining Talk Talk. But he also had the distinction of producing singles by not only Tight Fit, yes, the Lion Sleeps Tonight, but also the Nolans, who we touched on a couple of shows ago. So this guy's an absolute legend. The band lineup here was Tino Troy on guitars and lead vocals on 4 songs. There's a theme here, people, okay? His brother Chris Troy on bass and lead vocals on 3 songs, and Steve Carroll guitars and lead vocals on 2 songs, leaving Dave Potts drums and lead vocals on, you guessed it, no songs, okay? The album reached number 60 in the UK album charts, and it remains their only ever charting album. So there were only 2 singles released from this album, Cheated and All Day and All of the Night. And yes, those paying attention will know that the latter is obviously there for a Kinks cover, okay? Only Cheated charted, that's not easy to say, and it got to the fantastically high number of number 69. And that also remains Praying Mantis's only ever UK charting single. So yes, that is Time Tells No Lies by Praying Mantis. Go on then, Simon.
I don't know about you, but when I think of Tim Freeze Green, I think of science.
Yes, absolutely.
That's right. Thomas Dobley.
Yes,
Yes.
probably indeed.
Yeah. What a tune. You know it makes sense. I like eight out of the 9 songs on this. I hadn't heard it before. I'm really pleased to have heard it. I'm not going to buy it because it's too expensive, even at £17.69 or whatever CDs cost these days. They can get lost, but that's not important right now. Um, can we guess which song Simon the Bray Dog doesn't like on this one?
Yeah, I think so. It's probably the
I
same
think
one that
so.
I don't like.
Well, I'm hoping that you don't like the cover version of the Kinks. I mean, I don't
I
like
love the Kings song. I don't like this cover version.
I don't like the Kinks, and I don't like this version. I don't like any version of this song. I don't even like the Stranglers version of this song. Uh, I don't. I just don't see why it exists. I'm sorry, but "Cheated" is a great opener. It's really, really great opener. Um, there's so many earworms on this song, on this album. Rich City Kids is great. Beads of Heaven is fantastic. You know, flirting with suicide. I mean, excuse me, My Chemical Romance. Are you listening to this? This is how we do upbeat emo shit. Yeah. Yeah. Suicide. You know it makes sense. It's a really good record. It doesn't sound like the other two though. No, no, this is almost like they made an AOR new album
Yes.
record. Mm, yes. That said, though, Love Is to the Grave is fantastic. That is really, really good. And it got me to thinking, the guitar work on that is fantastic. And the harmonies kind of remind me of something, say, like the Outlaws, something like that, or maybe even Poco or something like that. But the Outlaws would have taken Lovers to the Grave and made it the whole of side three.
And then a guitar solo, and yeah, exactly.
They would have extended that guitar work into for another couple of days because you think, oh God, this is great. Oh, it's gone. And that happens a couple of times on the album. You think, oh, come on, play me some more, play me some more. Come, you can do this. You can. Oh, we've faded out. We've stopped. But yeah, apart from the cover version, this is really really good, really good, really good. But it doesn't sound like the others, and it makes once again makes you think, what is this NWOBHM thing? Because they're all from roughly the same time period.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they're just not that alike. They're all really good. This has been, like I said, this has been a fantastic week for us. Great choices by us. But you know, boom, dissimilar kind of thing. Head blowing up emoji. Yeah, very very pleased to have
And I'm
met that.
actually not surprised at how much you like this because I always kind of lump Praying Mantis in with like Demon. I think they're both very similar in that they don't really fit in this movement, but they do, and their music is much, much more melodic and, ARR oriented than any of the other bands. So, and this band still putting out good albums, and they have a lot of good albums in their discography. This is by no means like the only good album in their career. They've got a lot of good ones. So very, very good band.
Lot of good albums and a lot of band members. So good
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
Yes. A lot of band members.
You know,
Yes.
Dennis Stratton, originally with Iron Maiden, played in this band for quite a number of years.
Oh, yeah. Paul Diano came and went hello and cheerio
Yeah,
at every
yeah.
point too. Absolutely. So we had nothing by Praying Mantis prior to this, Simon.
Um, I think I've heard Defiance, the most recent one. In fact, I know I have, and I
Because
think well I've read the previous one to that. But of the early stuff, no, nothing.
it's interesting because of one of those bands who definitely are classed as NWOBHM, they're more metal now than they were when the movement was a
Yeah,
thing.
that's a good point. Yeah.
It's almost like they have evolved into what people think they are rather than what they actually were. They were very start-stop at this stage. There's singles and EPs that came out before this album, then they don't exist for a while. They kind of become Stratus for a period of time with Bernie Shaw on vocals, comes back to Praying Mantis. It's all over the place. You really can't go wrong with much of what's in the whole catalogue across the
No.
whole thing. There's lots of different styles along the way. Sometimes they're a rock band, sometimes they're a melodic rock band, sometimes they're a metal band. It doesn't really matter. They write damn good songs
You
more than
do.
anything else. But
Yeah.
you nailed it, Simon, as always, because my opening paragraph of the notes that I put down, well, this album would be as correctly placed in that they made an AOR album slot that we do on the Melodic Rock Show as it is in this slot because it's not quite AOR. It is melodic rock in places. It is also kind of a bit metally. The cover screams NWOBHM. That's about the only thing that really does, and yet there are some things on here where you do get great riffs and great kind of heavier vocals. But if you were expecting kind of galloping guitars and kind of air raid siren singing, then Cheated, which opens up, it's not that. It's definitely, absolutely not that. If there's anything that holds it back, I quite like a band that's got more than one singer. I think it harms this album a little bit. It seems to break up the continuity. I like Steve Carroll's vocals the best. He only does two songs. And that always kind of struck me as a little bit weird. It seemed to matter who wrote the song, therefore who sang the song. And I don't think Tino's vocals are absolutely fantastic. But things like Running for Tomorrow, if you just kind of strip a whole load of stuff away, I can imagine Magnum doing that on the first kind of two or three albums.
Yep.
Is that almost like that kind of not progressive? It's not pomp. It's all of those things, but it's slightly more nuanced than certainly the other albums that we've spoken about today. But there's some great guitar work in Rich City. Kids, Flirting with Suicide, absolutely. Energetic Attack, but great melody. And I like it when the three guys all sing together as they do across most of the album, when it's not just the main lead singer singing. The harmony vocals across the whole album, absolutely fantastic. And I just think that it's a really interesting album from start to finish because it does heavy it up in places. It really doesn't in others. And yet, if it proves one thing, unfortunately, it proves that only the Kinks can play all day and all of the night at that pace and not sound like it's an utter dirge. I mean, it's not like they've thought, you know what, we'll slow this down and make it sophisticated. They're playing it at the pace the song's played. It's terrible. And only the Kinks can do that song at that pace and not sound like someone's just lost the batteries. You know, because that's what this version sounds like. It sounds like someone's just, you know, turn the batteries around a little bit. You might get some more life out of them in the back of it, and you might get a better song. But the one I like the Kinks. Okay, so unlike Simon, I like the Kinks, and they're covered by so many different acts, and I can only think of one or two versions that are actually really any good. You should just leave them alone because there's a kind of thing about them. But yeah,
It's like, unfortunately, I think, Van Halen decided to do it and it worked for them. So every other band decided, well, we're going to cover the Kinks too. It's like, maybe not.
a lot to do with it. The only one I really, really, really like is So Tired by Little Angels because they lift it and make it not a Kinks song. They make it their song. And that's key. I think that's key. Cover versions are a strange thing. We may talk about them at some point next year. I always think there's three options with a cover version. You either just do it straight, you make it your own, or you do something completely different with it. And Praying Mantis kind of fall into that horrible space in between making it a really straight cover and trying to make it theirs, and it becomes neither.
Yeah.
And it's just boring. And it's the only boring thing on it. But of course, because it's a cover and because of who it's a cover of, the record label goes, I know what we'll do with that song. And it represents this so badly. And truth be told, so does this. Okay, because you look at this, you expect Diamond Head. That's kind of what you're looking at here, isn't it? You're expecting that kind of, this is going to be riff metal. That's what it's going to be. And it's really not. And I love the album cover.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Okay. And to be fair to Arista, they actually gave them, unlike the other albums, they gave them inner covers and all this kind of stuff. But it doesn't represent the album well at all. So if you bought this expecting it to sound like it looks like, you would take it home and go. So you're almost immediately selling the album to the wrong audience in many ways. And I think that's why Praying Mantis confused a lot of people. Because a lot of people love this album and go, yeah, I found it late because it doesn't sound like it looks. And a lot of people bought it at the time but didn't like it because it doesn't sound like it looks.
Yeah,
over and over. I think it's great. And if you haven't heard this Praying Mantis album or any other, then I would suggest that you probably should because they're really good.
Yeah. Can I just say two things? One of which I've already forgotten since I said two things, but it was Kinks related, but it's kind of gone. The other thing is, next month on Sea of Tranquility, 31 albums, or is it 30 albums, that don't look like they sound like the cover. Don't sound like the cover. I've come up with a theme just there.
Okay.
You got the skull in the corner, the skull planet thing in the corner, and yeah, that doesn't look like the album.
Simon pays attention because he knows that I haven't figured out exactly what I'm going to do for next month's theme, and I'm still searching. And that's a pretty.
Already Simon's going, you've just stolen a show idea for us.
If you can come up with 30 albums that don't look like this, don't sound like they look, I will be the most impressed Bray Dog.
Oh, yeah? I've never underestimated Pete Pardo. Come on now.
in the history of mankind.
I've already got like 4 of them in my head right now as we speak.
There you go. Then you only need another 20 odd, don't you really? Yeah, but yeah, I've remembered the other thing. I mean, I know that I am on record as saying I never skip anything. I listen to albums from start to finish. I skip track 2. Every time without
I don't blame you. I would do that.
Every single time. Nope. It's almost as if Phil Collins just come on. Nope. Gotta go.
And that's why this is still the correct format, because I didn't. Because I listened to it all, because it's too much hassle. I don't want to make it when I listen to it next time.
I will say, Simon, if you can track down the Rock Candy version of this album, it's really good. That's the one to get if you can find it.
Has that got the bonus tracks and the
That
various singles and
that's
things like that?
that's the one that's £17.69 or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
CD prices have practically doubled in the UK, Peter. I know that you've had this discussion with Stephen. They're just ridiculous.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
Simon, if I see it for a good price here, I will get it for you.
Put it
I
in the
will.
box.
I haven't got that version, but the early singles and things are definitely worth having if you can. The Soundhouse tapes part two is fantastic and various things like that. Yeah.
By the way, newsflash, Girlschool box set secured on the way.
I foresee a favorite least favorite girl schools show in 2026
All right, get in.
because
Up for that.
I can do that.
Very possible. Very,
Yeah.
how many albums do they have altogether?
Yeah, it's not that many.
Yeah,
That's
I didn't
not
think
so
so.
much.
I know they did one not that long ago, right?
Yeah,
That's
but
really good, but that's
pretty
not
good.
important right now. There is
Yeah.
the odd
So I
also
would
clump in there.
suggest 15 or less
Yeah.
because within there are some that you don't really need because they're not really albums. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
There's some in there that you don't really need because they're not very good. But
Well,
that's
Yeah, but you need them
that's
for the least favorite. You need to have heard them if nothing else.
exactly.
listen.
Yeah, be aware, Pete, because it isn't plain sailing all the way. It's an interesting catalogue.
Totally get it. Yeah, I totally get it. Probably the ones that are on the way are the ones I really, really need. So I totally get it. So, all right. So my thoughts on Praying Mantis. I've had this for a long time. I really like this album a lot. I agree with everything you guys said, and I think it's a weird fit in this world we're talking about because musically it's very different, but in re-listening to it like over the last week, there are moments that I think are a perfect fit for the new wave of British heavy metal movement. There are some songs on here that are pretty heavy and have that kind of fast-paced mentality, but there's a lot of like melodic rock AOR on this record. There's a lot of really great songs on here. Let's take out the cover because that's the only thing that people should just skip right over. As Simon said, there's no reason to listen to it. It's not a good cover. Just stop doing the Kinks, people, not just them, everybody else. Just stop already. But Running for Tomorrow is great. Cheated is totally great. There are, for me, I hear some like Thin Lizzy moments on this record too, like that the twin guitar harmonies and that Thin Lizzy style hard rock. There's plenty of it on here. Rich City Kids reminds me, and again, it's a little bit, well, it's right around the same time. Remember Uriah Heep Abominog? That song could have fit right on that album. It's very much in that line. But I think that Abominog we're learning from bands like this and from Demon because it's all right around the same time. I think the Uriah Heep were basically digging what was going on with the new wave of British heavy metal movement. So I think if you like that stuff, you like it. I mean, Beads of Ebony is really good. Flirting with Suicide, good. There's great riffs on here. I think the weakest part of this album, other than the cover, is some of the vocals aren't great. I think, Steven, you touched on that a little bit. I think with more consistent vocals, because again, you got a couple of the guys singing, some are better than others. I think if this had like a stronger vocal presence from start to finish, this all of a sudden becomes an absolute drop dead classic album. But as it is, it's really, really good. And I love the cover. Yeah, it doesn't really tell you what the album is all about, but it's cool nonetheless. I'm a big Rodney Matthews fan. So, but yeah, you're right. It does kind of scream, well, this is kind of like Diamond Head type of thing. It's really not. It's not Magnum either, not quite. But yeah, it's a good, really good album. I love it. I like this band. It's a very, very strong discography. I'm trying to remember how many years ago Rich Catino and I ranked this catalog, but I think they've come out with one or two albums since we did that, and the latest album is very good, really good, very consistent band.
It's interesting because it's only been, well, maybe not even in more recent times. I mean, the last 10, 20 years feels like it was 10 minutes, but
Yeah.
they've struggled to have a consistent singer all the way through, haven't they? Even when they've
Yeah.
had good singers, they don't seem to last very long,
No.
unfortunately.
I
And that,
mean, and that's a problem, right? The constant lineup changes that some of these bands go through, that doesn't help, I don't think.
I, think some people need a consistent voice, no pun intended, for a band. and there's so many voices. I think it makes it fascinating when you go through a catalogue and you go, so who's on this one
Because
then?
every album is so different, right? But the mainstream people, they like that consistent lineup, that sound, the same guitar player, the same singer. It's very important to a lot of people. So yeah, not everybody's like us, unfortunately.
And the world will be such a better place if they were. Ah, okay, on that bombshell. Go on. I know you hate this question, Simon, but I think it's a really interesting question with these three albums. If you can only keep one and you have to put the other two in the bin, which album are you going to keep?
Well, I wouldn't put them in the bin.
I know I'm being horrible.
Give them to friends that could loan them back to me. See,
Great idea. I like that.
because of time, it'd be that,
Okay.
but because of Happy Join Us, it'd be Girls' School. And because of, oh, I've discovered something new, it'd be what I like to call the Mantis. So, but because I'm going to go and see them soon, it's going to be Saxon.
Okay.
I'm very excited to see them play the whole thing.
Yes. I mean, it will
And
take.
if they don't do it front to back, I will be very unhappy. If they intersperse the other shit in between.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
not that it
I'll
is
be
shit.
happy. Also be happy if Biff says nothing until they finish the album. Open my motorcycle, man. Let's just do the whole damn thing. Yes, absolutely. Go on in, Pete. Which one of the three are you keeping?
I mean, obviously, Saxon's the easy choice, but something Simon said way back at the beginning of this episode. It's like it's one of those albums that you almost don't even ever have to listen to again because it's so part of everything that's up here. So it's almost like I could cheat and say I don't need to take the Saxon album because I know it so damn well. I could just anytime say, okay, play Wheels of Steel in its entirety up here. I don't need to hear anything. Just turn these off, right? Um, and I know the Praying Mantis really well. I'm pretty digging this girl school, so I might just say, hey, I'm going to take the girl school just because it's brand new to me and I'm really loving it. So I don't know. I mean, Saxon's the real choice, obviously, but yeah, the girl, I'm could be taking that girl school,
Perfect. And this is why I was delighted that I was asking this question. And I'm delighted the way that it's gone because Simon is keeping the Saxon, you're keeping the girls' school. And that allows me to say I'll keep Praying Mantis so that
There you
all of
go.
these are kept by one of us.
Well, you know what? If we're all going to that place together, we've got all three of them. We got nothing to
There
worry
you
about.
go. Look at that. We've found a loophole.
As long as you buy a Stanley knife just to go around track two, that would be terrific.
Oh, leave my vinyl alone.
Slice that bad boy right out of the mix, right? All right, so I'm assuming before our next episode together, we you guys are talking more Slade, or is that coming after? Either way, Stephen, what can we expect over the next couple of weeks here?
Yes, we haven't quite cemented in when we're doing the next slideshow, but we will be doing it. Is it
Next
not
week. We'll be doing it
next?
next week, let's be honest.
Okay, I'm glad that Simon said that. I need to listen to these albums again now. Okay, that's fine. Lovely. Yes, we'll be doing Slade next week.
Everybody loved the first episode, so they're waiting for part two.
Yeah, and part two is lots of fun. I really like part two of Slade, but there you go. Okay, so in 2 weeks' time for the UK Connection, we are going back 10 years because we're going to visit our favourite albums, our top 10 from 2015, and just see exactly how much shit we were talking when we decided that those were the 10 best albums of the year. So, yeah, I like it when people play along with us. The comments are always good fun with this, not only because a lot of people are honest enough to say they don't like some of the stuff that they liked 10 years ago or whenever the show was, there's also albums that you miss. So there's lots of things going through the comments where you look and you go, oh, I never actually did get back around and listen to that album. So yes, bit of homework for everybody for 2 weeks' time. Go and look at your favourite 10 or more albums from 2015. Do you agree with your own choices from the time? Because that's what we're going to be doing.
I remember the last episode we did, we were all like in very much in disagreement with what we picked in that year. That was what, 2014? Was it the last one? Yeah, I
Yeah,
was surprised. I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? It's like, I think more so than any other episode we've done before. So I wonder what 2015 is going to bring about.
I haven't even looked yet.
I haven't looked at it either. I could do it real quick right now, but I don't want to.
No, it's not. Let's save it. Save it for the show. Don't do the show.
Nope. So there you have it, everybody. So that's what's upcoming here with the UK Connection folks. And let's see, tomorrow is Ranking the Album show. Yeah, Rich Catino and I will be ranking the albums of Agent Steel. So, for all of you who are fans of early US power and speed metal, we got these albums right here. We'll be ranking them in the order we like them. That's coming up tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. And visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Well, Simon's on Instagram all the damn time. I don't know about me, but all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as a post. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Once again, thanks to our friend from Germany. We'll have another one next time. Till then, for Simon Bray and Steven Reid, I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you soon. Bye-bye.